Hello students. Today we are going to learn carbon compounds. In the previous year we have studied the organic compounds and inorganic compounds. If you look at the objects around, then you will understand that carbon is the main constituent. The food that we eat, that is also made up of carbon. The furniture on which you are sitting, that is also carbon compound. The fuel that we use for our day-to-day vehicles, all these material, there is a carbon as a chief constituent element. Now let us study that why carbon can form number of compounds and what are the various bonds in the carbon. Basically, first let us understand the basic information about the carbon. That carbon, whose symbol is C, then we know atomic number, that is 6, atomic mass number is 12. Now let us study the bonds in the carbon compounds. We have also learned about the ionic bonds and the covalent bonds. We have already studied the properties of ionic compounds as well as covalent compounds, and we know that the melting point and the boiling point of carbon compound are less than the 300 degrees Celsius. That means the intermolecular attractive forces in these compounds are weak. Now let us study the more detail. We can see that as the intermolecular attractive forces are weak, the most of the carbon compounds are bad conductor of electricity except graphite. Now let us study the chemical bonds in these carbon compounds, and we know that the chemical bonds in carbon compounds, they do not form the ions. Now let us study about the background of electronic configuration. As you know that 2 and 4 is the electronic configuration of carbon. Now to attain a stable structure, it has different alternatives. First, that we can find that the helium has only 2 electrons. The atomic number of helium, that is 2. Either to accept the stable structure of helium, carbon has to lose all these 4 electrons. This is the first alternative or first option. What happens that suppose the carbon loses one by one electron, and then the positive charge will form on the carbon, and if it loses all the 4 electrons, then it will have the 4 positive charge, and though the carbon attains the structure of helium, it will not attain the stable structure as the size of the carbon atom is less and the net charge over this is high one. So this cannot happen. The second one, that the carbon can attain the nearest electronic configuration of neon, which has the 10 as atomic number. So carbon has to derive, so has to accept 4 more electrons. Suppose carbon goes on increasing. If carbon takes 1 electron, then it will have the negative charge, and if all the 4 electrons are accepted, then again the minus 4 charge will be there. Again the same condition is there, that where the negative charge over this atom will increase and the size will become as a small. So this cannot also happen. Then the next third option we have, that carbon shares the electrons with the another carbon atom with the valence electrons, and so it can overlap. The valence shell can overlap. You can see here in this way. Suppose another carbon atom is there, and in this way, 4 electrons are shared. So in this way, carbon double bond. We know the covalent bond is the bond in which sharing of electron happens, and these electrons, these 2 pairs of electrons that are denoted in this way. Now let us study the rest of the reactions, rest of the other. Suppose we consider as a hydrogen. Hydrogen is the simplest form of single bond or covalent bond. In this way, only 1 electron is there, and by sharing these 2 electrons, the duplet will be completed. Now here the covalent bond is denoted like this. It is also denoted by dot structure, means in this way, HH, or a circle is drawn over, and when we want to show the covalent bond in this way. So this is the single bond, or this is the double bond. Now there are several other examples of oxygen, of nitrogen, oxygen as a double bond. In this way, nitrogen triple bond. You can find here that 8 is the atomic number. In this way, you can draw it. 6 electrons are there, out of which 2 electrons will share as this. Rest of the 4 in this way. Oxygen, oxygen, double bond. Now you can draw the next structure, that is of nitrogen as a triple bond. And for better understanding, I'll send you a video. You can look at the video for better understanding. Okay. Let us study another example of nitrogen. This is nitrogen. 2 and 5 is the electronic configuration. In the first shell 2, then 5 out of 5, 3 from this atom and 3 electrons from this atom. They share, and so triple bond is formed. Here 3 pairs of electrons are there. So nitrogen with another nitrogen, that is triple bond. The another example of methane here. This is carbon having the 2 and 4 electrons. Then here from hydrogen, 1 electron from hydrogen, this hydrogen, 1 from this, 1 from this, and 1 from this. That is this is the covalent bond. Here you can represent HCH, HCH in this way. So this is also another example of covalent bond. So we can find here the carbon compounds, they form covalent bond, and they are mostly bad conductor of electricity. So you can study the single bond, double bond, and triple bond. Single bond, that is hydrogen-hydrogen single bond. Double bond, the example of double bond, that is of carbon and oxygen. Example of triple bond, that is of nitrogen. And here you can have the example of methane with the single bond. Carbon, hydrogen single bond, carbon, hydrogen single bond in this way. So this is all about the chemical bonds of carbon compounds. Let us study the versatile nature of carbon.
In the previous video, we got introduced to the versatile nature of carbon. Can you tell me why it is capable of forming so many bonds with so many elements around? To know this, let's have a look at the atomic structure of carbon first. Does the atom look somewhat like this? Yes. The electronic configuration of carbon is 2,4. That means it can either donate or accept 4 electrons to achieve stable state. However, it's not as easy as it seems. This is because donating the 4 electrons will mean that the atom is now left with only 2 electrons. But the number of protons still remain the same, right? That means the atom will gain positive charge and will still be unstable. Similarly, accepting 4 electrons will also lead to a situation where the carbon atom becomes negatively charged. Thus, both the situations would lead to instability of the carbon atom. So the option that carbon adopts is to share electrons. Sharing in carbon can take place up to 4 electrons. That means carbon can share all its valence electrons with any other atom. We know that such sharing of electrons leads to a special type of bond formation called the covalent bond. So to understand carbon chemistry, we need to understand covalent bonds first. How can we define a covalent bond, by the way? In simple words, it's the bond formed between atoms by the sharing of electrons. Now the next question that pops up in our mind is how many electrons need to be shared to form a covalent bond? Is it 1 electron or a pair? Or more than a pair? Can you guess? Let me help you with the answer. When we say sharing, it means that both the atoms need to contribute for the bond formation, right? It indicates that each atom will give at least 1 electron from its valence shell. Does that tell us that a covalent bond will involve minimum of 1 pair of electrons? Yes, a covalent bond needs at least 2 electrons or simply 1 pair of electrons. Such a type of covalent bond where 1 pair of electrons is shared between the atoms is called a single covalent bond. It is denoted by drawing a single line between the 2 atoms. A simple example that explains this type is the formation of a chlorine molecule. How do you think this molecule was formed? We know that chlorine has 7 electrons in its outermost shell. That means only 1 electron is needed by it to complete the octet. Now here's another chlorine atom which again has 7 electrons in its outermost shell. Both of them want 1 electron each. And that is why we find 2 chlorine atoms coming together and forming a bond by sharing 1 electron pair. Now if we look at this orbit individually, it has 8 electrons. And this orbit too has 8 electrons. Stability achieved for the chlorine molecules. This was an example of a single covalent bond. So do all atoms form covalent bonds by sharing a single pair of electrons? Think for a moment. We know that oxygen is in the diatomic state. That means one oxygen atom forms a bond with other oxygen atom to form a stable molecule. Do you know how many electrons are shared in this bond? What do you notice? There are 4 electrons shared. That means both the oxygen atoms contribute 2 electrons each, thus giving 2 pairs of electrons in the bond formation. So is this not an example of covalent bond? Well, it is. But covalent bond has 1 pair of electrons being shared, right? Don't forget, it is a minimum of 1 pair that's needed for formation of the covalent bond. That means this case is also an example of a covalent bond. Such a covalent bond which involves 2 pairs of electrons getting shared is called a double covalent bond. It is represented by 2 lines written between the 2 atoms. Just like this as seen in case of oxygen. Now on the similar lines, can you give me an example where more than 2 pairs of electrons are shared between the atoms? Wait a second. Are we trying to say that a triple covalent bond also exists between the atoms? Absolutely. And the best example to study this is the case of nitrogen. We always find a nitrogen molecule written like this. Needless to say that the 2 nitrogen atoms share a triple covalent bond. That means 3 pairs of electrons or simply 6 electrons are shared between the atoms. This helps both the atoms attain the stable state. Now tell me one thing. Which type of covalent interaction does carbon prefer? Does it opt for a single or a double or a triple covalent bond? Astonishingly, carbon has the ability to form all these types